Mr. Thornton, on tobacco, you know, the industry has shrunk here in the United States to a fraction of what it once was for obvious reasons. Other countries, other TPP countries, are taking measures to try to reduce smoking in their societies. Given all that, does it really matter? I mean, is it really going to help the industry if you don't have access to ISDS in the TPP?
And your name and organization?
I'm sorry, didn't I say John Brinkley with Forbes?
Thank you.
I mean, even if you have access to ISDS and say a company brings a claim, it doesn't mean they're going to win.
No, it does not mean they're going to win. But if you can't defend yourself, you know you're not going to win. And if your opponents know you can't defend yourself, they're going to attack. So yes, this is a significant issue for us, and we know it is.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Regarding the carve-out and
It's not a carve-out.
the opt-out. The question is, we heard that any tobacco control measures would have to be applied in a non-discriminatory fashion, and I'm wondering, does that address your concerns, and if not, why not? Thank you.
All right, so Ambassador Betters, you can probably explain this better than I can, but as I understand the rules, is that if a tobacco company goes in and tries to litigate something that they consider is unfair, the opposing, or the country on the other end, can invoke this clause and say this is because of human health measures, and we don't have to abide by the decision. So, and we don't see many limitations on what would fall under those standards. So we worry that it could be a wide range of things. We're very worried about what they might start putting under health measures. And a lot of things will fall under health measures. So yes, we are very worried about that.
Yeah, Ambassador Betters?
Yeah, I think that one of the statements that Peter made was that this would prevent tobacco companies from defending themselves in courts of law. And I just want to clarify here that, in fact, the legal structures in place in these countries to provide challenges to investor-related takings don't change. And so, you know, in fact, if you look at ISDS in the United States, it's relatively rare that cases are taken under an ISDS and that it would go to that arbitral panel, because U.S. law provides for a robust legal system to make those sorts of challenges through U.S. courts. Where those avenues exist in our TPP countries, they would still exist and our tobacco companies could use them. We don't change the legal systems of those other countries. And I might add that, let's say that a country came forward and said, we're not going to allow the sale of cigarettes from the United States, but we're going to allow them from every other country. Well, that's a discriminatory application, and they might say it's an anti-smoking measure, but really it's just an anti-smoking of U.S. products measure, right? And so those are the kinds of things that could be challenged through state-to-state dispute settlement and would not be subject here. And so, you know, again, access to a country's legal system other than ISDS is not affected by the agreement. And also discriminatory application of SPS measures or of, you know, particular marketing measures, that's a somewhat different issue than an underlying challenge to anti-smoking laws themselves and how they might be challenged under ISDS. So this is a technical legal issue, but full access to the remedies of the trade agreement through state-to-state dispute settlement and the defense of the SPS commitments the market access commitments that countries have taken, those still exist in TPP. So, again, it is somewhat technical, but it doesn't change the underlying legal structures in these countries.